All right, guys, we're going to go over to Tinkercad.com and we're going to be working on a dice that could be 3D printed. So create a new 3D design. And you're going to be here. The whole point of this project is to make sure that you guys understand how to use your work plane and to work on different surfaces of a 3D project, and then be able to execute a 3D print as well. So before I even start designing, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that my project is self-saving by changing the name. So if my name was Brian Martinez, I could put my name in like that, period 1, and that this is the dice project. I'm going to scroll down, and in the basic shapes, you'll find at the very bottom a pre-made dice shape. And then we're going to take that dice shape and we're going to expand it. And one of the key things that you want to learn is to be able to grow a shape in complete proportion. So you want all the sides to grow evenly. So I'm going to press shift on my keyboard while I drag one of these white squares, and the dice is going to grow proportionally. So I want something that's nice and big that we can work on. So I'm going to do it at 60. I let go of my mouse and then I let go of the shift key, and my dice is set to 60 in all dimensions. So if I look at this dot, it's 60. On my X and my Y, it's also 60. All right, so we've got our shape in there. Now, what I really wanted you to learn from this tutorial is how to navigate around a three-dimensional object, and how to use the work plane. Now, a new feature in Tinkercad is that when you grab an object, it automatically will change to different work planes. But in the past, you would have to take your work plane and say, hey, I want to work here, and I want to work on top of the dice first. Just to give you an example, now if I grab an object and I bring it over here, it goes straight to that work plane, or it goes straight to this work plane. Like I can choose where it's going to go. So there's multiple ways of doing it now. I'm going to drag this in here. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and just set my work plane as that surface. So now I need to drag this. I'm going to shrink this down, okay, to the size of 10. And it doesn't quite get there. So now I'm going to type in 10, and my sphere adjusts to that size. So we'll start with the singular die that goes right in the middle, or the single hole that goes in the middle. And I'm going to use my tool to orbit around just so you guys can see. Now I don't know if that's lined up, so now I'm going to try to align this to the surface. So I press shift, and with the sphere selected, I'm also going to select the die. And now I have both of them selected, and I'm going to use the alignment tool. Alignment tool is right here, or I could press L on my keyboard. I'm going to center it. Center it. It didn't take much shifting. I almost had it there. Now I'll click away. And the last thing I need to do is turn this into a hole, and then I'm going to push the sphere down 3 millimeters. Oh, let's go more than that. We're going to go 5 millimeters in, and then I'm going to let go. With the sphere still selected, I'm going to press shift, and I'm going to select the dice, and then I'm going to group it, and it cuts the hole perfectly in the center. Now I'm going to move to my second piece. So right below here, now I'm going to work on the face. I'm going to grab my work plane, and I'm going to change to the front of the dice. Okay, and I'm going to do my two-sided die right now. So I'm going to drag another sphere in, and I'm going to again hold shift so that I can shrink this proportionally to 10. It doesn't want to go exactly to 10, but I'm going to type in 10, and then it shrinks proportionally. And for this one, I'm going to leave my spheres on a diagonal. So I'm going to put this one up here. With it selected, I'm going to duplicate it. And then I'm going to use the arrow key on my keyboard to drag it down into position, or a position that I think is close enough. Okay. Now, with one of them selected, I press shift and select the other one. And I want to group them. And with them grouped, then I want to press Shift and click on the dice, and then I want to align them. Okay, so that they don't stick together. There we go. So they're all aligned now. Click away. With them selected, I'm going to go ahead and turn them into a hole. I'm going to rotate my project so I can watch the push into the face. And now I'm going to push it in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let go. I'll rotate this back. This is just good practice. And then I'm going to press Shift, click on the dice, and I'm going to group them. And when I do that, it cuts the hole. So now I've done my 1 and my 2. The next face is going to be my third face. So I'm going to rotate over to the right side, change my work plane. So I'm just changing my work plane each time. And again, I'll drag in my sphere. And this one's going to be on an opposite diagonal. So I'll start down here. I'll shift and shrink it to 10. I'll click in the box and type in 10. I'll duplicate it, move this one forward. Now what I really like about Tinkercad is that once you've positioned one item how you like it, it kind of anticipates if I press duplicate, and it puts the next one in position. So I think that's pretty good. Now we'll work on aligning them. So I'm going to select all three. I'm going to group them. And then with them grouped, I'm going to select, with pressing Shift, I select the dice, and I'm going to align them to the center. Then I'll turn them into a hole. Whoops, no, I'm sorry, don't do that. Okay, click away first, click on the dots, click on the hole, there you go. Now I'm going to push them in 5 millimeters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then select the dice as well and group them, and it cuts the hole. Okay, when I move more to the right now, to the back of the project, change the work plane. This one needs to be our 5. So now I'm going to do the 5. This one's a little more, this is probably the most complicated one. I'm going to drag my sphere in. I'm going to shrink it to 10. It almost gets there. I type in 10. Okay, and we're good. Move it up here. Okay. Now I'm going to duplicate this, and I'm going to move one off right now, and that one I'm going to use later to be the center of the 5 spot. So now I'm going to duplicate it again and drive it over. Okay, and then what I want to do is I press Shift and I click these two and I group them. That way when I duplicate them, now I have 4, and then I want to group those. So those 4 are grouped. And now with those 4 grouped, I'm going to try to drag this in as close as I can to being centered. And now I'm going to press Shift. I'm also going to click the center, and I'm going to click the dice. And then when I go to line them up, it's going to allow me to perfectly center all 3 of those objects. Click away, click on the blue dots, turn them into holes, turn the center one into a hole, group them, and now push them in together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then click on the outside dice, group it, and it should cut the holes. Okay, so we're looking at, we've got our 3 done, we've got our 5 done, our 1, 2, we need 4. So let's go ahead and drag. This face is going to be our 4th face. So now I'm going to drag the sphere in. I'm going to shrink it to 10. And at this point, you guys should be experts at this. I know I move fast. Again, duplicate it, drive it over. Press Shift to get the 2 together, group them, duplicate the doubles, bring it down. Now I've got 4. Press Shift to get all 4 of them together, group them, and then click Shift on and click on the dice, line them up, I'm going to turn it to the side a little bit, click away, click on the dots, turn them into holes, and then I'm going to push that in 5. Oops, I pushed that in 6. Let me go back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let go. Press Shift, click on the dice, and group them, and it cuts the hole. Now I got one last face to do. So I'm going to go ahead and rotate to the bottom of the project now. And again, this whole time you're learning how to use the work plane and build on different surfaces of a project. I'm going to press this down to 10. This is a 6, so this is going to be quite a bit that we've got to do here. Type in 10, it becomes 10. I want to kind of orient myself a little bit better here. Put this where I want it. And I'm going to double it. Bring it down, and then remember, if I just press duplicate, then it kind of anticipates which way I want to go. I'm going to press Shift so I can group these 3 together, and then I'm going to duplicate them and bring them over. Once I like where that is, I'm going to press Shift again and grab everything together and group it. Then I'll press Shift again, click on the dice, and use the alignment tool. Then I'll go to an area where I can kind of see this a little bit better. There we go. That'll work. And then I'm going to click away, click just on the dots, turn them into a hole, push them in 5, let go, press Shift, click on the dice again, group them, and now you have a completed dice project that will 3D print. Once this is done grouping, I can press Home, and I can see now that my project, by using this work plane, I have completed a complete dice in correct order. Okay, everything looks good. All right, and that's ready to 3D print for you guys. All right, I hope you guys have fun with it.